This problem says, it's a word problem, a bank loaned out $36,500. Part of it at the rate 2% annual interest, and the rest at 14% annual interest. So it's a loan. They're loaning $36,500, and part of it you have to pay 2%, and the rest of it you have to pay 14% interest. And it says the total interest earned for both loans was $3,070. So for one, that's assuming for 1 year. So for 1 year, this was the total interest earned. How much was loaned at each rate? So we'll let X be the amount loaned at 2% and Y be the amount loaned at 4%. So with two letters, we need two equations. I don't know if you're aware of that, but the number of letters always must match the number of equations. So with two letters, you need two equations. So the first equation is just going to be adding up the total money, right? It's $36,500 that was loaned. So the amount that was loaned at the 2% plus the amount that was loaned at the 14%, the X plus the Y, must total $36,500. That must be the total amount of money that was loaned. So that's just total money. Let me just write that over here to be helpful. Total loan amount. Now we've got to bring in the interest. So the interest, move that over, I'm kind of running out of room here. So for the interest, basically however much money X was loaned at 2%, they're going to have to pay 2%. So for example, if you loaned $100, if somebody's loaned you $100 at 2% interest, then you would pay 0.02 times 100, in other words, $2. You'd have to pay $2 for the privilege of borrowing their $100 and doing with it whatever you wanted for a year. So the privilege of using their $100 for a year, 2% is the interest rate. You multiply 0.02 times the amount. If you borrowed $1,000 for a year, then again 2%, that would come out $20 if you multiplied that in your calculator. So they're borrowing X dollars for a year at 2%. So it's going to be 0.02x. 0.02 times X is the interest they're going to have to pay for the privilege of using somebody else's money, X dollars for a year, plus now the Y is the amount they borrowed at 14%, so that's going to be 0.14Y. That's going to be the interest charged for the privilege of using the Y dollars for a year. And that total interest, the interest from the 2% loan and the 14% loan adds up right there, total interest. The total interest earned for both loans, $3,070. So the total amount of money borrowed, X plus Y, $36,500. The interest from the first part and the interest from the second part, total interest, $3,070. So there's our two equations with two letters. When you get two letters, you need two equations. Okay, now how do we solve two equations, two letters? Let's go to a fresh screen. We've got some room to solve this thing. So what are our two equations? X plus Y is 36,500. And 0.02x plus 0.14y is 3,070, I think. Right. Okay, we need to solve. Now, how do you solve for two letters? Well, there's two different methods. We learned the elimination method and the substitution. It doesn't really matter. You can do whichever method you want. I'm going to, step one, I'm going to multiply to make the x's opposites. So I'm going to multiply through the top equation by negative 0.02. It's going to go boom, boom, and boom all the way over there. that'll make those x's opposites, right? This will be negative 0.02x. This is already positive 0.02x. I'm making the x's opposites. Then when I add them up, they'll cancel. So this is the addition method or the elimination method. Goes by either name. Negative 0.02x. Negative, 0.02y. And then use your calculator. Negative 0.02 times 36,500 is negative 730. And then I'll just bring down the second equation. It hasn't changed at all. And now I add them up. Step 2. So step 2, add and eliminate. So it's called the addition method. It's also called the elimination method. When you add them up, these guys eliminate because we made them opposites back on step 1 so that they would do that, because we can't solve both letters at the same time. We need one of them to drop out. So we made them opposites on step 1 and then added them up so they would eliminate. Bye-bye x, negative 0.02x, and positive 0.02x is 0. It's gone. Now the y is 0.14y minus 0.02y is 0.12y. Those numbers, I'm going to use my calculator here. It's 3070 minus 730. I'm getting 2340. Now we can solve for y because we only have one letter. Divide by 0.12 on both sides. Y equals $19,500. So y is $19,500. That's the amount invested at. If you go back, that's the answer right here. That's $19,500, as it says right there. That's the amount loaned at 14%. Now remember, the total amount loaned, the bank loaned out $36,500. So if we already know that one of the parts is $19,500, how can we find the rest of it? If we have $36,500 total, one of the parts is $19,500, we just subtract, don't we? So what was it? $36,500 minus $19,500. This will be the other one. Subtract that, and I'm getting 17,000. So that must be the x there, must be 17,000, as indeed it says that's the answer. So that's how we solve both those equations, and that's how we got the two equations right there.